So in this video, Lessons I Learned from Oprah, we are going to be delving into some of my favorite life lessons in this book. I read over 40 books in the year 2020, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about one of those inspirational books that I read from none other than the most brilliant woman alive, or at least one of them, Oprah Winfrey. I had the privilege of reading this book, What I Know for Sure. I was actually on a flight when I was reading this particular book. I was on the way home from Miami. I just could not put this book down. Like, I didn't even want to watch a movie. Oprah has such an eloquent, beautiful way of speaking, and this book was just full of gems. This is definitely a simple read. It will make you smile, it will make you cry, it will make you laugh, and I recommend it to everyone. So in this story, Oprah Winfrey is basically answering the question, what I know for sure. Apparently, she was asked in an interview with somebody, what does she know for certain? And the question just really struck her and it made her think. And that's how this whole book was actually written and developed, was from that one question. I really found a lot of parallels and similarities with Oprah in her life lessons, and a lot of things I resonated with, and I'm sure you will too. So I'm going to be talking about the life lessons in the order that they appear in this story, and the first one is on page 14. You are the single biggest influence in your life. I really love this theme of accountability in Oprah's novel. And as a woman who has accomplished so much in her life, wow, it took a lot of accountability for her to get to where she is today. And she realizes that one of the biggest influences in her life was herself, right? It wasn't anything external, but it was her own desire. Furthermore, Oprah goes into depth in not only are we the biggest influence in our life, but we are the ones responsible for making changes in our life. We're the ones responsible for breaking out of certain family dynamics or certain generational things that have been passed on to us. So it's our responsibility, no one else, to change, to improve, and to really just continuously grow into the best version of ourselves. On page 33, she goes on to talk about healing, and in specific, healing our wounds. This is something that I am a huge advocate for, and I actually have a video talking about attachment styles and how it really is our duty to recognize our attachment style and assess whether or not it's healthy or unhealthy, and from there, learn new patterns, better ways to handle relationships. So on page 33, Oprah says, I know for sure that healing the wounds of the past is one of the biggest and most worthwhile challenges of life. It's important to know when and how you were programmed so you can change the program. And doing so is your responsibility, no one else's. There is one irrefutable law of the universe. We are each responsible for our own life. So this really ties into that lesson of number one, which is you are the single biggest influence in your life. Oprah also uses the example of the oxygen tank in the airplane, which I love and I totally resonated with because this is a story that my mom has told me growing up. And the story goes, if in an emergency situation on an airplane, you are asked to put your own mask on before you can assist your daughter, your friend, your husband, whoever it is. So that in itself right there tells us that we have to take care of ourselves before we can take care of others. And I think that this is a central point in Oprah's life lesson. Okay, for the second life lesson, it's on page 19, and it's better food is the foundation for a better life. I completely agree with Oprah. I am someone who invests in high quality food. I don't mind spending the extra few bucks, and I know that is a luxury, and I know that I'm privileged and beyond honored and grateful to do so. But I know even at a time in our family when we didn't have much, we always invested in high quality food. And this was because food is fuel. So if you have healthy, nutritious foods, you're gonna operate at an optimal level. And if you are eating a bunch of fast foods, a bunch of fried foods, a bunch of snacks, well then you are gonna feel lethargic and lazy, and you're not gonna be functioning at an ideal level. Eating fruits, vegetables, natural whole foods is always a good investment investment in yourself. Life lesson number 3 is on page 25, and it reads, insight, information, knowledge, inspiration, power, all that and more can come through a good book. And as an avid reader myself, I know how important reading is. I know the value of books. And to be quite honest, I haven't been someone who has read diligently year after year. I've had my phases. I've had at least a year or two go by where I didn't even pick up a book. But I think the important thing is first, just acknowledging the importance of reading and the benefits. And second, just deciding that you're going to read and making time for it, because I know a lot of us use the excuse that we don't have time, but the truth is we do. We spend hours scrolling, we spend hours on Netflix, so to dedicate 15-20 minutes a night to reading is really just a no-brainer. Life lesson number 4 is on page 39, and it reads, whenever I'm faced with a difficult decision, I ask myself, what would I do if I weren't afraid of making a mistake, feeling rejected, looking foolish, or being alone? And I thought that that was such a beautiful self-reflection, and that was just a wonderful way of stopping and asking yourself, if you're living a life that's true to yourself, are you just limiting yourself and really having a lot of doubts and fears? Or are you really just going out there and saying, screw it, the worst that can happen is I lose, but I'll always learn something? I think we should always approach new situations with an open mind, with an open heart, and you never know what's on the other side of an uncomfortable situation or an opportunity, so just always say yes. And the worst thing that can happen is you don't enjoy it or you didn't like it, but it's better to know than to go all the way till your deathbed and regret it. Life lesson number 5 is on page 44, and it reads, changing the way you think about your situation is the key to improving it. Now, I think this is key to mindset. This is key to being positive, to seeing the light in really dark times. Rejections are blessings, and anytime unfortunate situations happen, we should have this faith and belief deep down that things are happening for the best possible outcome. And although it might not make sense to us in the moment, there's always going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. Start being grateful. Keeping track of what you're grateful for. You can have a gratitude journal. You can easily just think about it when you're going to sleep at night, right? What were a few things that I'm grateful for today? Who were a few people that I'm grateful for? And just getting in the habit of realizing all the blessings in our life, you really start embracing every single moment and realizing how much of a gift life really is. Life lesson 6 is about love and relationships, and as you guys know, I'm someone who talks about the topic of dating a lot, and I always advocate for healthy relationships that are built on trust, communication, understanding, transparency. And I know a lot of people DM me or email me and they ask me, what do you think about this dynamic? Or what do you think about this person in my life? Do you think I should proceed in this relationship? And it's really hard to break down situation for situation, right? But I always try to think of fundamentals. And a fundamental way of looking at a relationship is, does it bring you more happiness or more pain? And Oprah really said it eloquently in this quote. On page 60, she says, I know that a relationship built on real love feels good. It should bring you joy, not just some of the time, but most of the time. It should never require losing your voice, your self-respect, or your dignity. And whether you're 25 or 65, it should involve bringing all of who you are to the table and walking away with even more. So this really encompasses my views on relationships. Now, I know I make videos on traits that women look for in a man, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to character. A man could be the most successful, the most handsome, but if at the core he's not respectful and he's not caring and loving and bringing more to my life, adding value to my life, then that really is not a relationship that I would invest in. So this is just wise words from me to you, and also also from Oprah to you, and I feel like we definitely have a similar way of viewing relationships in this really simple manner. Does this person add to your life? Life lesson number 7 is really just about owning who you are and being true to yourself. We hear it all the time, but of course Oprah just says it in an even more authentic way. And this can be found on page 94. She says, only by owning who and what you are can you step into the fullness of life. I think that is so true, especially in this day and age where we're all biased based on numbers and subscribers and views and this and that. We get lost in who we are. And I think we always should come back to ourselves and really just be still and quiet sometimes and figure out what it is that we want and if we're living that out, right? Because we don't want to be just living for other people. We don't want to be just a diluted version of ourselves. We want to be the most best representation of who we are in all of our colors. Life lesson 8 is found on page 107, and it reads, right now, no matter where you are a single choice away from a new beginning. How powerful is that? How much power do you think you have as an individual knowing that all it takes is one changed action, one new decision that will steer you in an entirely new direction? I feel like that is just so empowering. And tying into making new decisions that are going to direct us to favorable circumstances is the next life lesson, and this is found on page 116. The biggest thrill you can ever achieve is to live the life of your dreams. We are all worthy, I believe, of living the life of our dreams. I don't think that any of us should settle for less than that. Life lesson number 10 is found on page 153, and it reads, if we're really committed to growth, we never stop discovering new dimensions of self and self-expression. I am someone who really values education. I mean, I own a educational business, and not only that, but I think that education is so powerful. It doesn't need to be in the traditional college academic setting, but I think that all of us should strive to learn or just grow in small ways each and every single day, because you don't want to be someone who's left behind and who's just lagging. You want to be someone who's constantly seeking new knowledge, new information, and new ways of expressing yourself, whether it be creative outlets or passion projects. Life lesson number 11 is found on page 174, and it reads, your instincts are your compass. Sometimes we tend to overcomplicate things. I know I'm someone who's been pretty indecisive my entire life, and it's not something I'm proud of. It's not something that I'd like to boast about. It's something that I'm always actively working on. But even in college or before college, when I was in high school applying for colleges, at one point I was committed to 2 colleges at the same time. And it was all because I couldn't make the final decision without feeling like something just isn't right about this. And I've learned that rather than listening to our anxieties or our worries, just once again, be quiet and be still, because in silence and in stillness, you really start discovering what you want, what your soul wants. Maybe not what your brain thinks it wants or what your family wants, but what you truly want. And that's something that I've learned. I've learned that my instincts are 9 times out of 10 leading me in a better direction than my brain or my heart, because my instincts know best. So this is just my reminder for you all to listen to your intuition, listen to your instinct and your gut feeling, because it's generally right. And on the following page, we have our next life lesson, which reads, I believe that education is the door to freedom, the rainbow that leads to the pot of gold. Once again, I had to include another educational quote because I do believe that education is so powerful. And when we seek knowledge and when we seek higher education, we end up adding more value to our friends, our family, society. We're able able to contribute in a larger way. So I really believe that you have nothing to lose by pursuing more knowledge and more education. And one of my favorite life lessons at number 13 is found on page 183, and it reads, "I know for sure that taking care of your body, no matter what, is an investment, and the return is priceless." The older I get, the more I realize that my body truly is my temple, and if I'm not taking actions to improve my health, to track my health, to just stay active, then I'm literally decreasing years from my life. None of us want that. We all want to live long, healthy lives. So it's always going to be a good idea to invest in your health. Lesson number 14 is found on page 186, and it reads, "What I know for sure is that how you spend your time defines who you are." We've all heard this quote in one way or another, but it really is the truth, you guys. Be choosy about who you spend your time with, about what you spend your time on. The more choosy you are with how you spend your time and who you spend your time with, you are going to definitely see how quick things can turn around and how you can literally change your life simply by just changing who you surround yourself with. Lesson number 15, which is one of my absolute favorites, and it's found on the last page of the text, reads, "Happiness is never something you get from other people. The happiness you feel is in direct proportion to the love you are able to give." And what a beautiful way to wrap up a story. No matter how important reading and knowledge and education and all these things are, love truly, truly is the greatest power in the universe. And we feel happiest when we're showing other people that we love them, when we're showing our projects that we love them and that we're dedicating time to them. Life just becomes easier and it becomes more joyful. So why not love a little bit more? So that brings me to the end of this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you guys have read Oprah's book and other book recommendations that you may have, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye-bye.